Hello and welcome to A Little Crafting. My name is Annie and this is my bi-weekly podcast where I talk about all the things I've been making over the last couple of weeks. That usually includes knitting, but also some sewing, some weaving and some hand dyeing of yarn. I am recording this from Surrey, which is southwest of London in the UK and where I live. And you can find me on Instagram as a_little_crafting or on Ravelry as Ankiwoo if you'd like to follow me on social media. Today is Easter Sunday, so it's the 17th of April 2022 and we have a lovely spring day here in the UK. It's actually a little bit warm to be wearing knitwear, so I might take this off after I've recorded the podcast. But I'll start off by talking about what I'm wearing, and that is my Jupiter crop by Caitlin Hunter. And this was my favourite make of 2020. It is knit out of Durarium Natura Ulysse, and that is a French organic merino yarn in sport weight. So I'll stand up so you can see what it looks like. And the colours are, so the dark blue is Tempête, the pink is Confiture de Rose, the blue is Ciel and the light pink is Quartz. And then this one here is Poivre Blanc, I think, which is one of my go-to colours. I've knit a couple of things out of that colour. But yeah, I absolutely love this. It's possibly one of the quickest sweaters or kind of sweaters that I've made. I find something like this with lovely colour work and changing colours to be really addictive to knit. So it was knit top down. It's a yoke first and then you continue the colour work into the body and the sleeves. And I absolutely loved it. I stormed through it and I would probably want to knit something similar again at some point in the future, especially now that the season is changing. So it's a lovely spring day, which means this is perfect to just chuck on if I'm a little bit cold outside, over the top of a shirt like I'm wearing now, or something else. And yeah, I'm just wearing this with high-waisted jeans, but obviously my shirt comes further down. I would probably make something a bit longer next time. That's the only thing. I find it a little bit tricky to work out what to wear with a cropped top like this. I'm thinking kind of a long skirt or something like that, or a dress would be perfect. But I tend to gravitate so much towards jeans at the moment, especially working from home, that that I'm struggling a little bit to find what to wear with it. Later on this morning we're going to my parents for Easter lunch, and I'll be cycling there, so it's not really appropriate to be wearing a dress or a skirt because that's just impractical for cycling. So yeah, this is what I'm wearing today, and I would love to knit another one or something like it sometime soon. Highly recommend if you enjoy colour work, something like this. This was an absolute joy to knit. So let's get on to what I've been making more recently, and unfortunately, once again, no finished objects of the knitting variety this week, but I'll talk through what I've been working on. Unfortunately, I hurt my elbow a little bit climbing, so just a twinge, but it meant that every time I was knitting it was starting to hurt again, so I haven't really done that much knitting over the last week and a bit since that happened, and I'm trying to prevent myself from overdoing it too much. So I have two things to show you that are works in progress. The first one is my velvet mirror, which I talked about in last episode if you watched it. And I am absolutely storming through this. So this is a pattern by Andrea Mowry. It is a kind of circle cowl, but you start off by having a provisional cast on at the beginning, and then you'll sew it all together at the end. This is knit in two different types of yarn. So this is standard fingering weight sock yarn. Both of these are dyed by Botanical Yarn, and she is, I bought these yarns actually at Unravel Festival in February. That was a while ago now. But yeah, so this is standard sock yarn, and then the other one I'm using is alpaca silk fluff, and this is absolutely beautiful yarn that I have never knit with before, but it's so soft. So I've got a bit silk alpaca crazy, as you'll see later on. But yeah, these don't have colours as such, but this was a set that I bought from Botanical Yarn at Unravel itself. And here is the label. Oops. Dropping it. Botanical Yarn. It's just the Velvet Mirror KAL kit, and I think you can buy them on her website as well. So, Velvet Mirror, just very addictive, a bit like this sweater. So even though it's fingering weight, I am over halfway now, and I haven't been knitting on it for the past week. So this is what it looks like right now. I find it amazing that that silk alpaca fluff is still so defined in the colour work, and it's just beautiful. I'm really excited to be finished with this so that I can use it just to wrap around my neck. It's so soft, which is one of the reasons when I saw this sample that Botanical Yarn had on the booth, I thought I have to knit that because it's just so soft and cozy. And I'd never thought to actually knit a strand of mohair or Surrey alpaca as one of my colour work colours, because I assumed that because it was lace weight, it wouldn't work very well and it would be gappy. But I think it evens out so beautifully, and these colours are gorgeous. So yeah, I'm really happy that I cast this on and started knitting it, and that I was convinced to actually buy the kit as well. So something I am doing is running a knit along for this pattern. So it runs, I think, until the end of June, but check out my Ravelry page for the details. I've got a chatter thread up and also a finished objects thread, and there will be prizes. So I'm going to have 2 buckets once again, like the last KAL I ran. One for people outside the UK, where I will send you a pattern of some kind. I'm going to figure that out before the end of the knit along. And then for those in the UK, I'll be dyeing some yarn, and I will show you what I'll be dyeing shortly as well. I am asking for people's favourite colours, just so that I know roughly what colours to go for in terms of the hand-dyed yarn as well. This KAL will end up, like I said, being a circle, but what happens is that, as the name suggests, a mirror. So this is half of it, which goes one way. Basically you swap around the colours, so you do the opposite on the other side. So the lighter parts in this section will be the darker ones and vice versa. So you get a mirrored effect. And the way that Andrea Mowry does hers is she actually twists it, so it will be kind of twisted over like that when it's done. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that. I think I'll see how big this ends up, because it actually seems quite small, so I think doing a twist would just make it a bit too small. But I'll see what happens at the end, and yeah, still thoroughly enjoying this knit. A little bit disappointed that my elbow hurts too much to knit it at the moment, but I'm sure I'll get on with it soon once that's healed. So yeah, that is the first project that I've been working on quite a lot recently. It is being kept in an older one of my project bags. This is by Clara Rose Crafts, and it is an Alice in Wonderland themed one. So you've got Alice in the frame there, and then yeah, the card men. I don't know what else to call them, and yeah, packs of cards and things. So yeah, it's quite a nice bag, but it's an older one. I think this was one of the first ones I bought. So it is getting a bit covered in fluff thanks to the Surrey alpaca, but I like the size of these bags, and they suit smaller projects like this, or even, you know, a shawl with a few skeins really well. Moving on to my next work in progress that I have been working on a bit more at the moment, and this is partly because this is a mindless knit and I'm really enjoying it. This is being kept in my Hide and Hammer bag in the berry colour. This is a 03, I think. I'm going to check that and put it in the notes. So yeah, and this is my Pradera wrap, which is being knit out of my Beehive Yarns Advent Minis for a cozy Christmas. And I am zooming along. So this is the first few minis, 1, 2 and 3. Then you've got the next few, so all in the pinks to start off with, then goes into oranges and browns, and then kind of further into the brown, and then interestingly back to this one, which I'll show you a close-up of. So this is kind of oranges and pinks, which surprised me because I'd have thought that would go more with the orange that's on that side. But we'll see. It is starting to be quite big, this. As you can see, I can't show it all on the screen at once. So yeah, it's quite large. My husband was saying it would be really, really long. I'm only halfway through the mini skeins, so I might end up stopping after the next section and then making another scarf in the next set of colours. It goes into the blues later on. But I did want it to be really complete in one project, so it's just gonna have to be a massive scarf, I think. Yeah, and this is the Pradera wrap pattern, which is a free pattern. It's on the Manos del Uruguay website, and the pattern designer is Jocelyn Tunney. So yeah, if you want a simple but not too simple scarf pattern, this one's great because it has a little bit of interest in the middle to make the chevrons, and either side to also kind of make the points. So yeah, I am loving this. This is my go-to relaxing knit at the moment, although not so much the last few days. So yeah, I have quite a lot of minis still left to knit, but I'm actually quite surprised how quickly I got through half. So this will be the first advent that I'm actually going to use up all the yarn within a year after opening them, pretty much, because I haven't used all the yarn on my other advent calendars. But yeah, enjoying that once again and making some progress there. So that is all the knitting for now, but I do have some other things to show you. So I have been doing a bit more sewing, and I did mention and show the start of my cat's quilt, which seems really weird now that I talk about it, but basically I wanted to have some fun making a quilt out of some lovely colours and fabrics, and thought I'd just make a little one for my cat. I'm going to reach over here and grab it. And this is it all done. So yeah, I'm hoping you'll be able to see the whole thing if I move it like that. And this was super fast. I'd say less than 4 hours it took me to make. So I'm definitely getting quicker at my sewing, at using my sewing machine, more confident at just letting my sewing machine do what it needs to do. And yeah, really happy with how this turned out. It's lovely, and the backing is just some turquoise that I got from Hobbycraft, just simple cotton. Unfortunately, I don't remember, actually it's this way up so that you can see the animals in the right way around. I don't remember what the fabrics were, because I bought them out of a local shop, and they were just in sections, sort of you could just pick up several fat quarters for a certain amount of money. So they didn't have a brand or anything like that, but I do really love this one, especially with the animals and the farm, and the bobbins as well. So I just wanted some plains to go with those, which is why I picked up these other ones. But loving this. The cat has sadly not used it that much, although there is some cat fur on here already. But I hope she will once it's a bit cooler, when she wants to sit on something cozy. Yeah, so really happy with that at the moment. And now I just want to make another quilt, but I need to do a big one at some point next. So I'll hold off until I have the energy to to do that, and the time as well, because it does take some time to piece together so many squares for a large quilt. This was just a little tiny one. I've got some more of this fabric, so I'll probably make something else like a cushion cover or something like that to go with it, because yeah, I might as well use all the fabrics together as I chose them to match. So yeah, happy with that, all done. Can go in the finished objects pile. Another thing that I did yesterday actually was finally sew myself a project bag out of the fabric that I had woven, I think probably a year ago. So I wove this beautiful fabric out of some Chopel wool Zauberball. I think it's the Chocolanden Sight colourway, which I used for my Jennifer Steinguess cowl. I can't remember the name of it, but this is, yeah, so I used Dorero Naturalis as the warp and the Chopel wool Zauberball Chocolanden Sight as the weave. So you can see this beautiful orangey red colour that fades into different colours as well on here. And yeah, I wove this fabric to make myself a bag and didn't actually end up making it. So what I did yesterday was, because I had my sewing machine out already, I decided to actually finally put this bag together. So it's quite a sizable bag. I use the Kandou Crafts pattern for the zipper pouch as my basis. It has a black zip and just some really simple cream lining. I reckon you could probably fit 4 skeins of yarn in here of differing weights, to be honest, and it has this lovely box bottom. I'm quite pleased with my corners, they're pretty even. And yeah, I'm glad to have finally made this. Again, it didn't take me that long, maybe a couple of hours at most to finish that off. So really happy that I'm getting used to using my sewing machine again. Used to making things with my woven fabric as well, because it is quite tricky to handle, because it's not like a simple cotton fabric. It moves a lot more and stretches because it's a weave rather than a really tightly, it's a kind of a loose weave rather than a tightly woven cotton fabric. So yeah, and it's wool of course as well, so that's another element that adds some complexity to it, but I'm definitely getting used to this, and I'm quite pleased with my zip placement on this one here this time, so it's not too bad. Yeah, so that is one bag that I will probably be using for some projects very soon. I also recently got some curtain fabric that was in a kind of leftovers sale, and I thought that some of the fabric that I got would be really beautiful as bags too. So what I decided to do was, whilst I was making that bag, I thought I'd make another one out of this beautiful fabric, and this is it. So again, it's a zipper bag. That's the other side, you can see, and this time I tried adding a handle. So I got this kind of cotton woven strap, kind of strips on a wheel from Frumble Fabrics. And I thought I'd try it out here. So I think this one might be a bit big for the bag, but once again, really happy with how this turned out. Sewing this reminded me how much more difficult it is to sew with the woven fabric, because I just kind of run this through the sewing machine without worrying, whereas that one is so much more difficult. But look at how beautiful this fabric is. It's gorgeous. And yeah, these were just kind of leftover scraps that I bought, and I have quite a bit of it left over, so I'm probably going to make a few more things with it, but because it has quite a large design, I feel like I need to make something reasonably big up to show off that design. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. The zip placement wasn't quite as good on this one, So yeah, you can see at the end I've got a bit of a gap between the end of the zip and the end of the bag, but again, nice white lining, box bottom, just the leaves look beautiful, don't they? And I'm really pleased with this one as well. So yeah, happy with this bag. I feel like I need to come away from making zip bags because I actually don't really use zip bags very much for my projects. So I should probably try and make some drawstring ones or something else that's a bit more interesting. Also, I do find when I make a larger zip bag like this, it's very square and doesn't necessarily, I think I need some thicker interfacing or something like that, but it doesn't stand up as, yeah, it's okay. But yeah, it's not like the square ones. Maybe I should try and make a square one, a bit like the Clara Rose Crafts one, rather than something that's really tall like this. But I wanted to show off the design as well. So happy with that one. Grey zip in the top that looks pretty good. Yeah, I am definitely more experienced at sewing now than I was a year ago. So yeah, a couple of lovely project bags that I've created there, and I think actually that one's a bit bigger than the other one, so I think you could probably fit a sweater's quantity of yarn in there. What I'll end up doing is folding the top over when I'm knitting with this, but yeah, I thought I'd try the handle. It is a bit of a contrast against the rest of the bag, but I think it's still nice too. Yeah, so that was that one. And then in a completely different type of sewing, I also have a work in progress, and I've been doing cross stitch, which I'm pretty sure I have not done for about 20 years. Like, I haven't done any cross stitch for about 20 years. I used to do cross stitch when I was quite young at my grandmother's house. She used to buy me cross stitch over the summer, and I used to make big cross stitch pieces. But I haven't done any since then, pretty much. So I got this quite a few years ago from Hobbycraft, and it's just this nice little design that says enjoy the little things in some lovely colours. So I gravitate towards pink and green for sure, and gold, because those were my wedding colours. And I have so far just sewn the leaves and the start of the flower. This little guy is a little needle keeper. I got him a really long time ago from a shop on Etsy, I think, but I have no idea. I'd have to go and check, so I might link it in the description below. So when I've stopped using my needle, I just pop it on him. He's a magnet and he keeps that needle safe and stops it from kind of disappearing down the sofa or anything like that. But yeah, I did this much in a couple of hours last night, again just trying to rest my elbow. So that's why I did so much sewing this week. But yeah, happy and enjoying it so far. It is quite addictive, I'm finding. I've realised that again. But yeah, it's a different craft to be trying once again. This one's quite a good kit because you get all of the threads, so you don't need to buy any separately. So you've got them all in there. Yeah, and that's going quite well. So something new to be trying. Well, not completely new, but you know, new for a long time. Yeah, so I bet you I will have this done pretty fast now. We'll see. So that is everything in terms of what I've been making. Sorry about the crinkling, just popping that away. But I do have a few acquisitions because, like I said, I went a bit mad for Surrey alpaca. So the first ones are some Cumulus by Fibre Spates. That's these ones. And I also bought the indigo colour. It's the same. Oh look, how predictable am I? Once again, everything matches. So this colour is plum, and this one is indigo. There you go. So I got those two. Again, super fluffy. I am not sure what I'm going to do with these, but I will pair them with some other yarn. I was actually looking through some skeins earlier today, and I'm thinking maybe something like that in colour work would be really lovely. So now that I've started the Velvet Mirror KAL, I just want to knit colour work in Surrey and something else. Yeah, really nice high contrast, kind of bringing out the speckles. This is a Mr. B's yarn, which is now Bird Street yarn. It is Inkwell colour, so probably goes quite well with indigo. Yeah, so I'll see what I come up with in terms of a design for that. This I realise is pretty much exactly the same colour as I am knitting my Velvet Mirror in, but I will use it with something else. I've noticed again when I was looking through my fingering weight yarns that I have some more yarn that is actually just this colour in fingering weight, that kind of colour. So it might be nice to hold two together instead of doing colour work separately. So yeah, that was my first lot. And then I also ordered some hand-dyed Surrey silk alpaca. So these ones are from the Fibre Fox. So this one is this beautiful kind of shortcake colour, strawberry shortcake colour, I think. It's called Pink Lemonade, but it's beautiful. I also got this one, which is Viridian, on a bit of a discount. And I'll show you something else that I've been testing out in a minute, that I might think might work with that. And then this one is Cyclamen in the Snow. So lots of blues and purples, which is really beautiful as well. Again, I was thinking about how to use some of these hand-dyed yarns. So I picked out a couple of yarns. This is also Mr. B's. This one is Equinox, but this is in a superwash merino bamboo, which is very, very soft. And then I also have this from my holiday in 2020, I think, yeah, which is Blackwell Well Dressing by Peak District Yarns. And I'm thinking that would work quite well, because they're quite close together, or that one. This one has a bit of gold and a couple of other colours in it, but I think that might still work anyway, and they'll just pop out a little bit more. So yeah, thinking, itchy nose, thinking about how I use these yarns as well, because I also got some other Surrey silk alpaca. This is Ocean by Fruitful Fusion in the Surrey silk alpaca, and I thought I would pair it with this colour, which is one of my hand-dyed ones. It's just this super bright turquoise, but what I'm finding is that it's possibly too dark. So this is just a brim kind of knit in come on, focus camera, there we go, just 1x1 rib basically, but I can see that the Surrey alpaca silk is possibly too dark, because it kind of makes this sort of mild effect rather than blending nicely, or possibly this is too bright. So what I was thinking was that I could actually use these two together, because this would actually soften this one. It's not variegated like the other one. And see how that turns out, just to swatch. But yeah, beautiful yarns. I'm just not 100% sure how to use them all the time. Having enjoyed the colour work, I feel like that's what I'm going to gravitate towards on some of them, but for other ones I'll see what else I can do, try some different things as well. And yeah, in terms of yarn acquisitions, my final things are these two. So I ordered some Surrey Silk Haze, Silk Cloud from it's Chester Wool, but it's blueface.co.uk as the website, because I wanted to actually try dyeing some myself. So these are actually great because I can also pair them with some other yarn as just a plain white Surrey. But I'm going to dye some too, so I've got 5 skeins overall. One of them is for a friend, so 4 overall, so I'll probably keep some white and then dye some others and see how that works. I'm hoping it's not too difficult, that they won't get too tangled in the dye pots like I might expect. So yeah, that's all my yarn acquisitions at the moment. So I went on a bit of a spending spree, bought loads of alpaca silk. I'm hoping that's, I can allow that for myself because it's a way of me using up all of those other fingering weight yarns that are just sitting here not being used because I don't know what to do with them. So if I pair them with some Surrey, I think I'll get some use out of them and I'll enjoy knitting with them. I do have one more acquisition just to show you quickly, and then I think that's everything, but I'm gonna just go and grab it first of all. So I also pre-ordered the Contrasts book by Meiju K-P. I think that's how you pronounce it, I'm not sure, please correct me if I'm wrong. And this is another book by Liner Publishing, and I was just so excited by the sweater or cardigan on the cover, to be honest. But this is the kind of book that has so much texture in it. There's loads and loads of sweaters and cardigans. I mean, this cardigan is definitely in my wheelhouse, and I think it could actually work really well for work, because if I did it in a similar kind of colour, then you know it would look really smart. So yeah, it's a bulky jacket with a twisted stitch pattern, and it's worked from top down with contiguous sleeve shaping. So yeah, definitely thinking about that one. Not really knit very much in bulky weight yarn other than the slippers that I knit from the Liner 52 Weeks of Socks book, so that'll be interesting. I might have to see what kind of thing I can find, but I'm also still on the lookout for some sort of cabled sweater. So this one here, which is on the cover, I'm also drawn to the colour massively, obviously me, and the colour's actually a lot more pink than it's showing on screen. But yeah, it just looks like beautiful cables. I will get to making a cable sweater at some point for myself. Maybe not right now, it's quite warm outside. And then yeah, what this is, it's quite nice actually, because this book actually has some collections within it. So you have the long road pullover, you've got the long road hat, you've got the long road cardigan, that all have the same kind of stitch pattern in this lovely book. So yeah, this is the cardigan version here. So I could knit a cardigan, I don't know, I'm gonna see. But yeah, I had to have this book when it came out, firstly to kind of build up my collection of Liner books, and also just because I loved the look of the patterns. Oh, there's the Ankiwoo cardigan as well, which I will show you. It's really lovely. I don't know when I'm going to knit all of these cardigans and sweaters, but it's lovely to have the inspiration, and these beautiful hardbacks I think are good value for the amount that you spend. I can't remember, I think it's £34. I ordered this from the Tangled Yarns website with my Cumulus yarn. So yeah, really excited to have a proper flick through this and figure out what I'm going to make at some point in my life, considering I haven't knit out of the Strands of Joy or the stripes yet. I'm going to have to see see how I get on with planning. I might ban myself from buying any more patterns for a year. I'm just going to be knitting ones I already have, but we'll see. So yeah, that is the last thing. Yeah, like I said, it's Easter Sunday, so we're going to cycle to my parents for lunch. And it's lovely weather in the UK, so I'm making the most of it by doing a bit of gardening, spending time outside, going on walks. So not so much crafting Once my elbow is okay, I'll probably be able to sit outside and knit, which will be good. But yeah, I'm just trying not to overdo it, injure myself even more. So yeah, that is everything. So I will leave you and speak to you in a couple of weeks. I really hope you enjoy this episode. Please do hit the like button or the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed and you enjoyed this episode. Otherwise, see you soon. Bye.